Hi, this is Tobias Sammet of Avantasia and Edguy, and you are listening to Collision Radio.
Hi, this is Kat.
Hi, Kat. This is Tobias here.
How are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a bit warm, but I'm guessing you're not that warm at the moment where you are.
Not really, but it's not extremely cold. It could be much worse. I mean, 300 kilometers down south, with all the avalanches and everything, or 400 kilometers down south. Some areas of Germany, it's a bit dangerous right now with all the avalanches in the Alps. But here it's not cold. It's just rainy and gray. Well, it is cold. I mean, I don't know. Where are you based, in Sydney or?
No, I'm near Melbourne.
Near Melbourne.
Yeah.
So it's probably. For you, cold is a different type of cold than for us cold, but I think it's around 4 or 5 Celsius. It could be much worse. I'm not a heat guy. I like 20 degrees. It could be 20 degrees the whole year. That's perfect. You can go out without a jacket. But, but you don't sweat and you don't freeze your ass off.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I was actually thinking that maybe you're not a heat guy because you're coming to Australia in May. So it's getting cooler then.
Yeah. But I've been to Australia in May. It was okay. It's pretty much the same temperature as it is in Germany in May. I've been to Australia also in December. That was quite, it was quite warm.
Yeah.
Been to Perth. I was extremely warm, I remember, being in Perth in January, I think it was. Yeah, but it's really difficult, If we would base our tours around the temperature and the climate, with all these individual schedules involved, that would make it even worse.
You are coming down here and it says you're doing the full show. So what is the full show? Like how many of the guest performers on the album are actually coming with you?
There will be everybody who's touring with us in Europe. So it's always been with Avantasia that on the album there's like 9 or 10 guest vocalists. Mm-hmm. But of course you can't tour with 9 or 10 guest vocalists because we play 3 hours every night. But still, with so many singers within 3 hours, you can have everybody just for 1 or 2 songs on stage then. So we're going to be, I think, 6 or 7 lead vocalists. There will be Jeff Tate. There will be Jorn Lander, Ronnie Atkins. There will be Eric Martin of Mr. Big. There will be Bob Catley of Magnum. Then, of course, there will be Herbie Langhans, who just sings backing vocals on the album. He's a lead vocalist as well. Adrian Cohen will sing the female vocals and also backing vocals. She's very, very amazing. She can do all kinds of vocals. There will be Ollie Hartmann, our guitar player, one of our 2 guitar players. He's a singer too, and I will be there. I think we are almost 10 singers. So what I just said wasn't completely right.
It wouldn't be very often that you could bring such a large cast to Australia for a tour.
No, it's very, very, if you would have asked me 3 years ago that it would happen at all, I would have said no. No way. I would have probably said I hope so, but it's very difficult. And it is, of course, it's really difficult to juggle all the individual schedules and to bring everything together and align all the individual schedules and find a time frame where you have like 10 weeks or something like that to travel the world with such a lineup, because they all have their own commitments, be it Operation Mindcrime or be it Magnum or Mr. Big and Pretty Maids, and they all have their own schedules and shows lined up. So Avantasia, we're lucky that we can do 10 weeks of touring with such a great lineup. But bringing it to Australia, that's really, really, it's really
expensive.
I really love Sydney and I love Melbourne, but I have to say, they are amazing cities, but I have to say that they're not really exactly known to be heavy metal capitals of the world. And for this traditional type of music, and also you're quite far away. So, and we don't want to strip down. We don't want to say, okay, we're going to leave 4 singers at home and we're just going to go there to do a little Avantasia light version,
Yep.
I didn't want to do that. I said it's either the full thing or nothing at all. And now it works. And I mean, And we're going to come with a big crew. It's not that we come with 2 or 3 technicians. It's really the full thing. And I just hope that all the bravado of the promoters who take us over, that it will be rewarded and that Australian metal fans will come and will want to see the show, if they are the biggest fan of Avantasia or not. I mean, they get to see all these great singers on stage, and I promise every heavy metal fan and every hard rock fan, you will not go home disappointed. It's a great show. It's really great musicianship. It's great songs. It's a long show, and it's bang for the buck, as the Americans say. Yeah, and everybody's really excited, I have to say, in the band, because many of them have not been to Australia before, and because you're so far away, and everybody says, Australia, no, we're going to lose money, we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
No, this time we go there.
You might lose a bit of money, but on the good side, the heavy metal scene in Australia is alive and pumping. I think you're going to do really well.
I hope so, and I'm optimistic. You know, every time I've been over there, it was good, because in the beginning it was just like, before we did the first tour in Australia, it was, everybody was wondering, are there any Edguy fans, are there any heavy metal fans in Australia? And I said, well, they've got electricity in Australia. Wherever there's electricity, there's heavy metal and rock fans. It's one of the oldest, one of the biggest musical genres. So there will be Edguy fans. So, because the world has become much smaller in the day and age of Internet. I mean, that was in 2001. The Internet was, well, it had been invented, I have to say.
We didn't have very much of it in Australia then, I can guarantee. We only had a little bit of it.
But I remember in that one hotel, we didn't have internet on the room in that hotel. I remember back then, that was not so widely spread. They had a business center in the lobby, because I was looking up Dangerous Animals Australia. And
good idea.
It was so, I'm so lucky, and our fans over there can be so lucky that I did it only after I already had hit Australian soil, because I was so shocked about how I was literally a dead man walking when I said, like, Jesus Christ, you're doomed to die. You're never going to leave the country. There's so many dangerous animals. If I would have Googled that, being a hypochondriac, if I would have Googled that before, I probably would have canceled it. But then the tour was so great, and I wasn't eating. There were neither a brown snake nor a great white, not even a tiny little funnel web spider, making my fingers or hands rot off. Nothing happened, and it was just lovely. Great.
Yeah. Have you not been here since 2001?
Oh, no. I've been there ever after. After I knew it was relatively safe and great sharks don't really get you in. That was way before Sharknado, the movie. I thought I was safe in the streets of Melbourne and Sydney. So no great whites there. No, I've been there in, I think, 2005 or 2006 again, and then in 2010. I believe. I've been there a couple of times. It was great every time. It was, I have to say, I really fell in love with Australia. And also the first time we were there, I think we played 3 shows in 10 days or 4 shows in 10 days. It was more like a vacation with a few shows, spread out over that time. And it was great. We were young with Edguy. I mean, that was with Edguy, not with Avantasia. We were young and we were excited to conquer the world, and we had not fallen into a routine of touring. We were just, everything was new. Oh, we're going to Australia, and the whole mood was great, and we were drunk all the time. It was really funny. We were young.
Well, I did want to ask, you guys were only 14 when you started Edguy, and there were the 3 of you, so I guess, with that, you feel more like you have to write with them and in that limitation, whereas Avantasia it's an exploration of everything and anything.
Well, I don't know if that is the difference. I mean, there is a general difference between working with a band and working on your own. And Avantasia is a little bit like working on my own. In a band, you have 5 opinions, and everything is going to take longer. It takes longer until you've come to a certain result when you're discussing things. And of course, when you do things on your own, a lot of parameters are not set. There's you can change everything. You know, if I can't sing a song, if I have a certain song idea and I think, oh, that's a song that needs a certain type of vocals, okay, then I'm going to have Mille Petrosa sing him or Michael Kiske. And, okay, this song would be perfect as a duet with Bob Catley. And, oh, we need a different type of guitar playing over here. We could get somebody else in. And it's a lot of things, and they all happen, you know, very, very, you don't have to, you can basically just do what you feel you need to do. Without really adjusting to anyone else's opinion and expectation. And that's the difference. But I have to say, even with that guy, we are always relatively free. We have always been a band that, well, within a certain frame, we really did things that were unusual not because we wanted to offend people or that would be stupid. Why would you offend somebody unless you're in puberty? Why would you offend somebody just for the sake of doing it? But the thing is, we did all kinds of things that were unusual and that were not allowed according to the book of heavy metal, like doing a cover version of Falco or, well, basically saying the things we wanted to say without really taking care of if it makes sense from a business standpoint or not. And we always dressed differently and we behaved differently. We didn't take our things ourselves not too seriously. That's always been something we do with that guy. So limitations are not such an issue with that guy as well.
Well, what about...
But of course you're more free when you do solo stuff.
Well, you said working on your own, but do the guest vocalists and musicians, do they have an input into how the song comes out, or is it your...
Oh, yes, definitely they have an input, but working on my own, I mean, the initial creative process, when I built my own home studio and, you know, to a certain, you know, the songs get finished, of course, with Sasha Pett, the producer, we do a lot of stuff together, but it's my ideas and I take the responsibility and I'm in charge and I am the one who says, okay, I want it that way or I want it this way. Then after the songs are recorded, the basic demos, then I get in touch with the vocalists. And of course, if you work with vocalists with such a high profile, with such a history and such legendary artists, you definitely hear their opinion on things. And of course, they have to bring in their own identity because that's why you ask them in the first place. I don't play them like a keyboard. I give them the melodies, and sometimes, you know, most of the time they follow it because that's how the song functions, and most of the time I don't think they question it. But of course, if somebody makes a suggestion, if you are in the studio with Jeff Tate or with Jorn Lande, I mean, these people have a history of their own. They are great singers, and if they make a suggestion, you better listen because they were recording albums when I was a little kid. And they have experience, and it would be ridiculous to not listen to those people if they give you advice.
Well, you did mention covers too, and on this album you have a cover of Maniac from Flashdance. Why did you choose that track?
I like the track. It's just a nice track, and I listened to it at some point, and I said, oh, that would be a great cover version. Let's do it. And it wasn't planned to go anywhere. It wasn't planned to go on the album. It wasn't even planned to necessarily be a bonus track. It was just, I said, okay, we can afford recording a song that we won't use afterwards, but let's just do it. I want to hear it. What can we do with the song? And it turned out to be a great song and a straightforward hard rock song and with a lot of energy. And I thought that would be also a great counterbalance for all the, I mean, there's a lot of sophisticated material on the album. Yep. Many songs over 7 minutes, over 10 minutes. So I thought, okay, a 4-minute song that everybody can sing along to even before they have heard it for the first time, our version. That could be a great thing to make the album a little more diverse and to counterbalance the more sophisticated stuff. And the song turned out to be great, so I said, okay, it doesn't really belong in the concept, but let's put it on the album. And I want Eric Martin to be my duet partner for it, because a duet would be a perfect thing for an Avantasia album. That's kind of a trademark of most Avantasia songs. That will bring it even closer to an Avantasia song. And conceptually, it doesn't make sense. But then Avantasia is also heavy metal, and in heavy metal, things don't necessarily have to make sense all the time. It's more about, is it good? Does it sound good? Does it feel good? Yes, it does. Does it make sense? No, but who cares?
Well, to me, Moonglow sounds like you have a complete rock opera in you. Is that going to happen one day?
I try to do it with a metal opera. I don't think about these things right now. I may do it or may not do it one day, a stage production like a musical or something like that. What I think is really difficult is to have an arc of suspense in a 2-hour stage production, because it's a different art form. I think opera goes back to a day and age when there was no movies, when even novels were written with much lower speed, in the flow of the story. So I don't know if that art form would work really, or most of the time I think it does not. So let's see. Right now I don't see there's no ambition.
It's not fair that we only get this shorter time with you. I want to ask, if you had to sell this album to people, and you do, so what would you say to people about this album to make them buy it?
I would say it's a great album. There's a lot of love in there. It doesn't really fit in the music industry of the 21st century. It's no fast food, and they have to check it out because it's really hard to be described. If they're into Queen and into Halloween and Iron Maiden and Meatloaf at the same time, get the album.
Yeah, I heard actually the Meatloaf in Ghost in the Moon. That was, yeah. Thank you very much. The album is out on the 15th of February, and people can find out more about you if they go to Facebook, Avantasia, and you will be in Australia in May through Destroy All Lines. And thank you very much, and you have a great night, and we look forward to seeing you in Australia in May.
Thank you, and have a lovely day.
Bye.
Bye.